Hey everybody, Ed Carbo Hall. Solo this week on Coast to Coast Combat Hour. Matt Hawkins is off traveling, trying to get away for these last few weeks of summer that we have. Summer, that's why still in my cooler room and not in the regular podcast area. So I apologize for how this looks for folks that watch the video of this. Um, Podcast is brought to you by AllAccessMMA.com. It'll be a quick one this week. We just got to do a couple of housekeeping notes from UFC 278. Not housekeeping, but results based news that we kind of when we did our breakdown, based on everything that happened with the titles changing hand in the main event between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. You know what the funny thing about that fight? Might as well just get right into it. It's not weird. It's actually pretty cool that Usman's reaction is kind of like very humbled and almost like a weight was lifted off of his shoulders because the thing about it made me, and I wish Matt was here to kind of chime in on this. It made me kind of remember like when Fedor was undefeated for so long and then he got submitted by Fabricio Werdum. I remember the look on Fedor's face was almost that of relief and not so much like sad that he lost. It was like just kind of like the burden of being champion and all the pound for pound and all the like Alex Behun likes to put those humanizing athlete post up and these guys are human. After a while you have to wonder if if imposter syndrome, whatever has it, but whatever the case may be with Usman, but it just seems like he needed the loss to kind of get his focus back, and he almost seems grateful for it. So, that just makes him more dangerous in a rematch, I think. From all the fights, I think that was the only one Matt and I got wrong from UFC 278. Other than that, it was a pretty good card. I enjoyed it. The pacing and everything was great. I know I like to bitch about pacing, but it was great. In other news, friend of the podcast, Jillian DeCourcy, she faces Jessica Delboni for the atomweight title next month, September 28th, for Invicta FC number 49. They announced the location, Oklahoma, today. And the rest of the card. So My MMA News has those details up if you want to check it out to see the rest of the card. It's going to be on Access TV and YouTube. So shout out to the homegirl Jillian DeCourcy for getting some more details about where she'll be fighting for the title, and folks that want to go see it live, now they know where they can go see it. We're kind of hoping it'd be in my neck of the woods, or she and I neck of the woods, somewhere in the East Coast, but it is easier to get fights done. We're still sort of like, as I clear my throat, we're still sort of like coming out of this whole COVID situation, so it's not as easy to book stuff in places where everybody would sort of want to see it. And what else did I have to talk about? We talked about Jillian's news. We talked about the UFC 278. Is there anything else? Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Luke Rockhold's last fight. We kind of chimed in on it like before, as we did our picks for last. The guard changing in this sport seems to be happening more frequently than ever. As the sport gets bigger, competition seems to be incoming, younger, fresher fighters. Even myself, I talk about how I'm doing work with Spectation Sports now. I have the link in the YouTube bio. If you want to sign up, they're doing 20% off if you use my code CARBASIL, just like my hashtag or Twitter handle there. The talent and the guys are getting younger. The talent is getting stronger. And as you fight in the sport and age, it's not going to get easier for you. And Luke Rockhold's the cool thing about it was the way he went out. It was definitely there's something like artistically poetic about the way he went out. I know people make probably going to make fun of me for that, but like just the whole, even though he was fatigued and his nose got broken, he's smearing the blood on Costa. His the whole that was kind of his way of saying "f you" to everything that's been happening and the hate and whatever. I mean, the guy was champion. So another one hangs up the gloves, and it's just one of those things that we're it's almost like every week we're seeing a fighter hang up the gloves. But I mean, that's just a testament to how the sport is getting older, and the guys that are that make names for themselves, eventually they get older, and just like every other sport that has growth like that, or the growth that the UFC wants to see or thinks that they're at, that's just what happens. Being athletic is definitely a young man's game. So when you're in your late 30s, that's considered old for fighting. So I mean, with the stuff that happened with his leg, and he had those 2 knockout losses, and then he loses again by decision, but he didn't go out like no chump. He definitely went out, fatigued or whatever. He still fought till the final round, and I respect him for that. And I hope whatever he does next, I'm sure he'll be fine. The guy's a model, looks better than me. I mean, I'm older than him, and I mean, he called himself old or whatever he said in his post-fight press conference. But I mean, I wish I was as jacked. I'm older than him, but I wish I was as jacked as he was when I was that age. So good luck to you, Luke Rockhold, and I'm jealous of your fucking physique, bastard. That's just me being, cheeky, but whatever. All right, and I think that's it. Like I said, I was going to keep it short because Matt's away, but I didn't want to leave the podcast blank for the week because we've definitely taken off enough days from me being sick and stuff that happened, over the years. So, let's look at this weekend. So this weekend there's no UFC, right? And I'm sure by today's Wednesday, so I'm sure by Thursday, Friday, whatever the case may be, we'll start seeing the posts and the cry baby of the shout out to Jacob De Leon of All Access MMA, that supports this podcast, who coined the term for me anyway, UFC stan, which is the modern day UFC fan that just only watches UFC and nothing else. One Championship will be premiering their event on Prime Video this week. As you know, this podcast is an affiliate of Amazon Prime. So if you use our link in our description of the audio or video, wherever you're watching this, sign up for Amazon Prime. You get Prime Video with Amazon Prime, and you can watch this on Friday. So it's not just for your free shipping and 2-day quick shipping and stuff like that. You actually can get some good video content and watch it through whatever you want to watch it through. So this is their broadcast debut, and it's going to be. I mean, it's not their. It's their Amazon Prime. It's a Prime Video broadcast debut because they did stuff like this with Turner Broadcasting last year, or was it 2020? I think it was 2020. I forget the year. Not that long ago. Folks watched it. I think they followed AEW on Wednesday nights a couple times, and that did all right for them. But if you're looking for some high profile or high production value mixed martial arts and you haven't watched One Championship, you definitely want to watch this one. The reason, I mean, the Demetrius Johnson and Adriano Moraes are headlining this because of those one on TNT cards. I think it was the first one when they first fought. They fought for the Flyweight World Championship, and Mighty Mouse lost due to being kneed when he was on the ground. So I have the OneFC.com. The event page is up here if you're watching the video version of this. You can go to their website to check out their rule set to see that that's actually something that is allowed there. If you are a UFC stan, that might sound weird to you, but that's what's on there. That's allowed, and that's how Adriano Moraes won. So they're doing a rematch again, since they're on American time and they're using an American broadcaster in Prime Video. This is what they're doing. And then the thing about One, if you're new to One and you don't know anything about One Championship, it's not just MMA. They do Muay Thai, kickboxing, submission only grappling. This is their first event. I think the next event's going to have some grappling matches. This card is just Muay Thai and MMA. I mean, so if you're a fan of the striking and the punching and the kicking, and you don't like to watch grappling, I mean, there's MMA in it, so there probably will be some grappling, but it looks like they're trying to bring all the bangers, so to speak, on this card at One Championship's debut on Amazon Prime Video this Friday, and it's going to be 9. What do they have on the time here? 8 p.m. Eastern Friday. So, something to watch to get your weekend going. Um, if you're thirsting for mixed martial arts, I love what One's been doing lately, especially as a jiu-jitsu guy, since they added submission only grappling. I couldn't be happier that they're doing that. I'm really happy that I think the next card is going to be featuring some submission only. Mikey Musumeci and I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering his name, but he's one of my favorite grapplers too. I forget who he's facing on that card. I'd have to look ahead. I wonder if they have it on here. Let's take a look. Go to their events. One on Prime 2, this one here. So this one's going to be in September 30th, rather. So this is, again, I'm jumping ahead, but just so you have an idea of what you probably, if you have Amazon Prime, you have the option to watch this anyway. Mikey Musumeci. Hopefully I'm saying that. I'm fucking up names because Matt's not here because to fuck him up. Against Kleber Souza. They went all in on grappling. The fact that they're adding varied forms of martial arts is something that I'm definitely really liking, because I mean, let's be honest, shit gets boring, especially if it's every week. I mean, the fact, if you can watch UFC every week and not tell me you're not getting burnt out from it, then maybe I'm just a grouchy old man, right? But listen, it is what it is. But I actually I'm probably more excited for this than I am for any UFC card or pay-per-view as of late, unless you add Justin Gaethje or Brandon Moreno to a card, in which case then I change that statement. But it's good. It should be a good bit of fun. I mean, obviously, when they did the TNT thing, they had Mighty Mouse, and they had Eddie Alvarez in that card, and I guess they were looking to capitalize on names that American fans would know, so they could grow the product with their, familiarize the product with the new fan base. But that's not what happened. Moraes won, and Alvarez lost. He also had a funny. He got DQ'd because he punched a guy in the back of the head. Because he was doing what he was doing in fighting. He wasn't paying attention to the way that the guy turned his head this way, and the guy got punched in the back of the head just because he turned his head that way. It wasn't something that Alvarez did purposefully. But that's what we have to look forward to. So again, it's all MMA and kickboxing for this first card. I will be live tweeting it and stuff. I don't know if I'm doing results for my MMA news yet. We're still figuring out how the weekend's going to go, but that'll be the fights that I watch this weekend. There's a Fury Pro grappling event on UFC Fight Pass, but there's CFFC on Friday night on UFC Fight Pass as well. But I'll be watching this, and then on Saturday I won't be watching anything on a screen because I'll be at Men of War live watching my homeboy from my jiu-jitsu school, Nate Ray, compete at the Men of War event, where Steve Peacock, who's been on the podcast in the past, he's the ring announcer. He's going to be actually doing the announcing for that, so it'll be nice to see him. And again, the homegirl Jillian DeCourcy has competed there. For the audio listeners, I'm going to add the audio of my interview with her as the second half of this podcast, so that you folks are not left with my stuttering ass as your podcast of the week. But I just wanted to leave you with some content to listen to. That way we don't go do another bye week of no podcast, because I think we've done enough of those, and we should preserve those for when both of us really can't do it. And Matt can't do it because he's either in the air or in a car or something right now. So shout out to Matt Hawkins. We'll be back next week, I think, right? I think we'll be back next week together. With some probably with some crazy news or recaps of these events that have passed. I mean, he watched the BKFC. I know Mike Perry won, the BKFC, but I'll leave that for Matt to talk about for next week. Again, I just wanted to drop some quick recaps and audio for this week's podcast, and kind of remind folks that just because there's no UFC this weekend and you're a fight fan, that doesn't mean that there's nothing to watch. This is a this is one of those things that if one championship is successful, they could probably make their way over here to the United States and start putting they have their, I know we've said on the podcast before, their rule set is approved in Colorado. So if they're just going to do stuff in Colorado, then, hey, maybe Colorado will get some new fight fans making trips out there to check out one's product. But it's something that they've been wanting to do for a while. COVID kind of messed that up. I wrote about it over at SureDog some years ago. There's a Forbes article that I tweeted out recently where they kind of reiterated that. They had their branding at the New York Stock Exchange this week. So they're going all in on trying to bring eyeballs and attention to one championship on Prime Video. Prime right now features, like, they have Thursday Night Football for this coming football season, and there's a lot of baseball on there now. So the fact that they're trying to go in on more live sports, I think that's one of the things that a lot of business folk and financial analysts say is the issue. Like Netflix, when their subscribership and stuff drops because of they're just doing a lot of corny shit, live sports could save them. I mean, if Karate Combat was on there, Netflix likes to do weird shit. Imagine if Karate Combat was on Netflix, they would get that just more, that would probably boost some of their numbers for folks that are looking for something new, some live sports. I mean, there's something about live sports that we humans love, and I think that the MMA fan base is always it's niche, but it's always kind of overlooked or not looked at enough when it comes to trying to bring attention to folks. And if you think I'm wrong about that, then just to rewind back to what the UFC did and what they continue to do. Now there's actually fight nerds because of the UFC. Like, there's these fight nerds, and you look at guys like Booger Beard and all these characters that are popular now because they're just fans of the UFC. So, and I'm not saying that to insult anyone. I'm just saying, like, that that's because the UFC went first to grab folks and from that market and built off their own market. So, combat sports MMA market is it's always kind of like it's there now. A lot of folks know it's there now, and I think it's cool that Amazon is jumping in on it. So if you don't have a Prime membership, we're a Prime affiliate. Make sure you sign up for this weekend if you want to check it out and all the other cool stuff that's on Prime Video. It's not just this. There's movies and TV shows and all that shit on there. The Boys. What else is on there? That's one of my favorite Prime shows, The Boys. And I like Bosch and Bosch Legacy. That's cool. But yeah. And again, check out my interview with Jillian DeCourcy. We did it like maybe a week or so ago, but her fight's September 28th. And I talked to her about that. She's not doing a lot of interviews going into it because she's going hard on training and getting ready for the fight, if you're following her on social. But we did talk about that upcoming fight. So tune into that. And thank you, folks that I see are tuning in here. I appreciate you. Before I go, I got to shout out my former boss, Joseph Correa, for being right. He called it live when we recorded last week about Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. This is the guy that when we laugh and giggle and we talk about ring generalship, it's actually an inside joke from Proof Media that Joseph and I kind of like laughed about. I forgot how we came up with it, but he chimed in and told both Matt and I that we were going to be wrong, and he was right. We were wrong. So congratulations, Leon Edwards. It'll be exciting to see where the UFC goes from there with future matchups or rematch future matchups. That Masvidal fight's always there because of the whole 3-piece and a soda, whatever incident that happened between them back in the day. or not that long ago. But anyway, I'll leave you with that. Enjoy the interview, and again, thank you, folks that are been along for the ride. Appreciate you listening. Also, make sure you check out all our past episodes over at allaccessmma.com. James Lynch, and a bunch of other cool people contribute there. And that's it. Make sure you follow us on all the things. Matt usually does the closing out for that. I don't have that shit memorized, but at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat Hour on Instagram. I'm Carbazel, MMA Hawk 21 on Twitter, and all the other shit. Just listen to past episodes, and you'll find us. Peace.